I've watched women rebuild their entire offer suite, redo their website, rebrand, implement systems, all to fix a problem that was never that structural issue in the first place. I've also watched women blame themselves for a revenue ceiling or not having good enough systems in a business that they should have left years ago. Both the same symptoms, but two completely different circumstances. And today we are going to talk about telling them apart. Burnout versus the signal that something actually needs to change, because it's so similar to have them to confuse one for the other. And for those of you listening, you know that this year has been a huge pivot or evolution year for me. And if you're new here, just a little recap. Basically, I have been pivoting my business to go more bespoke consulting, brand and business consulting versus just having them both separated. And for years, I was operating in burnout and in trying to fix a business that was perfectly fine. There was nothing wrong with it. I just was extremely burnt out from it when I really should have been pivoting. And just in the last 6 months, it has completely changed, and therefore my life has changed. And when I was thinking about what I wanted to talk about and how I wanted to decipher this change, because I do get a lot of questions, which is funny, from people about how to know when the right time to pivot is, or know if it's a good idea, or all of that. It really does come down to an emotional question, an emotional conversation that you have to have with yourself. Yes, you want to be strategic and not just blow up your business and move on, but it is more of an emotional thing. For me, the reason I started business was emotional. I wanted to love what I did and didn't believe that we should spend our entire life doing something that we weren't absolutely obsessed with. And I think in entrepreneurship sometimes that can get fogged because you're so excited, you're starting a business, you're doing all those different things. And then over time, you kind of get back into that thing that you built and you're is this actually what I want? And I think there's confusion too, where there is going to be, I don't want to say there's going to be burnout, but not everything you're going to absolutely love, right? You're not going to love answering emails or love doing your spreadsheets, or maybe you do, I don't know. But it's not so much not doing the things that you don't love and then just burning it down and pivoting, because there are going to be things that you don't love doing. It's much, much deeper than that. So like I said, for me, starting my business was an emotional decision, and I do tap into my intuition a lot, making business decisions. However, so with this conversation, it is the more emotional side of business, which I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. So we're really talking today about, are you feeling burnt out? If you are feeling overwhelmed, if you're just I want all of these things, but I don't know the next right step to get there, or I don't know what to do in order to get there. I don't know if this means that I don't like my business model. I don't know if this means that I don't like my business, or I need to completely change. So we're going to decipher the two today. Hi, I'm Olivia Austin, and this is Behind the Design. Let's get into it. So first, let's talk about what burnout actually is and the signs that you might be feeling it. So burnout is usually everything, right? Everything feels heavy. Everything feels hard. You are constantly overwhelmed. It's including things that you used to love. It's not one specific thing. You can't think of oh, it's this specific offer, or it's answering emails. It's everything, even outside of work. You're just burnt out, and it has a clear cause and effect, right? So you have been working too much, so you've been expending too much energy, which is leading to burnout, or feeling overwhelmed for too long. And oftentimes it tends to lift when you do rest. So let's say you work, you have a super tough week at work, and then you take the weekend to rest, reset, completely off of your computer, all of that, you do come back feeling a little bit more refreshed. You feel better. Your head is clear, all of that. For example, like with burnout, so in earlier this year, we did a huge SGA launch, Studio Growth Accelerator, which is our signature course inside the Studio Co. for brand and website designers to scale their business to 150K. If you're listening to this and you're a brand and website designer, definitely go check out SGA. We just opened up enrollment for that. But anyway, we were heavy in content creation and launch mode for probably like 6 months from end of November or beginning of November. We did like Black Friday, and then we did the holidays, and then we went all in and we launched SGA end of April. We used to do like open and close cart, and we've completely changed that model, how we do that this year. But I basically was creating content. We were hosting workshops. We were doing freebies. We were like doing all of this stuff. And, Allie was messaging people on Instagram. We were emailing, we were hopping on calls, like we were doing all the things, and we were so burnt out. And it wasn't that we were burnt out from the business. We were burnt out from the thing that we were actually doing. Like we believed heavily in the course. We still do. We just were burnt out from the launch and creating content. Like after the launch, we took a breather. We have been, for all of Q2, basically, we've been just like assisting all of the members inside SGA, all of our clients inside SGA, and we are like, okay, now we're ready to get back on like the marketing campaign again. So I really that's an example of burnout. It wasn't like the offer that we didn't like. It wasn't the business. It was just the go, 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 go. And when we did take a break, it was like, okay, now I like it again. So a lot of times burnout, like I said, it gets better after you take a little break, but it also affects everything. So it's like you need to like sleep for days. So I really need to get someone to come on the podcast to talk about this, but human design, understanding your human design is super, super helpful. I'm a manifester, so I very much am like go, 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 and then need rest for like months, like literally months. And knowing that, it has been really helpful. And that just allows me to recognize whether it's burnout or it's like a complete signal. So just thinking on like the specific topic. So if you're listening to this episode and you're like, okay, I do have something specific that I think I might be burnt out or potentially want to pivot from, if anything came up there, just sit with that and say like, is that burnout or is it something else? So let's get into what a signal to change actually looks like. Okay, so what a signal actually is, and the signal to like pivot, it's a different kind of tired. It's not like an exhaustion from burnout or working hard. It's usually very specific, and it's not everything. It's, again, like it's something specific. So it's either a specific business model, it's an offer that you're doing, it's a way that you're delivering, like anything like that. And rest doesn't fix it. So you go home, like go on vacation for a few weeks, and you come back and it still feels the same. And maybe it's even louder. Maybe that white space like gave you even more time to think and, expand on this like pivot that you want to have or whatever that is. And it often shows up in like a mismatch of values. So like what happened to me is I was like getting clients. This is going to sound so bad, but I was getting clients and was just like, oh, like I don't even want to deliver this, or this is just like not what I even want to do. And it never like doing any sort of like rest or anything like that, like didn't help. And there was no excitement in the growth. So working hard has never been hard for me. And I'm assuming you listening to this episode, you love to work hard and you are a good worker and you enjoy working hard and you're smart. But actually but when you're working hard and there's no momentum behind it, or there's no value, or there's no purpose or passion behind it, that's going to affect you. And that's not going to help if you're working towards something that you're not excited to build. And it tends to pull you towards something else, even if that something else is vague. So like oftentimes when it's a pivot and this is coming from like conversations that I've had with other entrepreneurs who have done the same thing, which is actually so crazy because I've was so nervous to make this pivot, to transfer my business model, to do all these different things. And then once I did it, I was having conversations with so many other women that were doing the same thing, that did the same thing. So just super interesting there. But you are being pulled towards something else, but that other thing is not clear. Like you don't know exactly what that is, and that's okay. So it's not like, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to stop this and then do this. Oftentimes it doesn't look like that. You just know that you're being pulled towards something else. It's not like, oh, I'm so tired, I need to take a rest, I need to do blah, blah, blah. It's no, this is truly like not working and I want to try to go into this direction. And it starts out like really small and then it starts to like take over your dreaming, take over your white space, take over like the things that you're doing on a daily basis. And that is more of like a pull. And there's this quote, oh my gosh, I wish I could remember it. Oh, if it's your calling, it will keep calling. And I would see that quote all the time. It was like my RIS would just like see it like on Pinterest or Instagram or whatever. And that is so true. Like if it's something that you absolutely should be doing, it's going to keep coming up. It's not going to leave. Like I get a lot of people like tell me their business ideas or that they want to do this or they want to do that. But then after they stop talking about it after like a few weeks or like a month or whatever, then whatever, like it's probably not anything important. Same with me. I have business ideas every single day. But if I don't keep thinking about it and it doesn't keep coming up, then it's not actually something that I should be doing. But if it's something that is constantly nudging at you, it always comes up. Like you're cooking dinner and you're like, oh yeah, I still want to do that. Or you're thinking of ideas. Like that is a sign that it is something to look towards and to consider potentially doing. So I would say the real difference, like burnout is just like literally everything. You're just tired. A vacation would help. A weekend would help. Being unplugged would help. And you get back and you're still like excited. There's like systems that you could implement, like you could hire, you could delegate, you could do other things to support that burnout and keep growing the business in the direction that you originally wanted. And then the signal to pivot is like no system, no SOP, no team member, no internal structure, AI, automations, nothing can help get you out of this like quote unquote funk because it's more than it's more than like an architecture problem. Real quick, if you're someone who's been listening to this and thinking, okay, but how do I actually make this work around my life? I made something for you. It's a free workbook called 6 Figures, Part-Time Hours, The Ambitious Founder's Guide to Building Without Burnout. For the last 3 years, I've worked 3 days a week running 2 businesses that make multiple 6 figures per year separately, and this work is the exact framework that makes this possible. You'll get hyper clear on what's holding you back, where to focus, and what your exact next steps are to remove overwhelm and start to thrive in business and life. It's completely free. Check out the link in the show notes to download it now. Okay, back to the episode. Okay, so now we're gonna go through a little test. I'm gonna ask 5 questions on how you can decipher between burnout and a decision to pivot. And again, I just want to emphasize, like, what makes an entrepreneur and different than someone who it will never be an entrepreneur is resilience. Like just because things are hard doesn't mean that you're going down the wrong path. Actually, the hardest decision is not the easiest. Usually the easiest decision is not the right way to go. You want to be uncomfortable, pushing yourself, growing, and challenging yourself. So you want to be resilient and keep moving forward. If the vision is there and it's something that you truly, truly want to build and you're just feeling extremely burnt out and overwhelmed, then there are systems, strategies, all of those things that we can put in place to make it easier for you. Also, you want to make sure that there's like a light at the end of the tunnel. I could go on and on about this, but anyway, it's all about resilience. And I'm not telling you that because it's hard or you're in a difficult time or it's messy and chaotic, that it means like, okay, never mind, I'm going to go do something else and like start new and have shiny object syndrome, because that is something that I see too often. And you do need to like forge ahead and stay true to the vision if that's what you've always had, even in times where it's uncertain, messy, chaotic, you don't know the how. But all that to say, if there has been something like in the back of your mind that you've been thinking about doing, that you've been thinking about pivoting, thinking about getting rid of, and it's been there for 6 months, a year, 18 months, 2 years. Like for me, it was like 4 years, which is crazy to think about. That if it's been over and over again, like then that's a conversation that we need to have, that I would happily have that conversation with you. So here are some questions that you can run by yourself. You can write these down or just come back and listen to the episode. But if you took the first question, if you took 2 weeks off with no email, nothing, like no client work, you're just sitting on the beach, you're walking around Europe, like whatever you're doing, 2 weeks off, would this feeling lift, go away, whatever? Like, do you think that you would still have this feeling? The second question, am I tired of this particular business or just part of it? Like, is there one thing that is burning you out? Like, is it that you are doing way too much admin? Is it that you are, executing too much? Like, what is the feeling? Or is it like the vision that you're working towards? Or is it the vision you're working towards? Like, that's another thing too, is like, you always want to have a North Star, even if getting there is uncertain. You don't know exactly how you're going to get there, but you have the vision. If the vision is blurry or you don't align with the vision anymore, that's another thing to think about and consider. The third question is, when I imagine walking away, do I picture rest or do I picture something completely different? Like, is it just like, oh, I'm just going to go and, sleep for 48 hours. Like I have a few clients who would love to do that. And then come back and feel amazing. Or is it, could I walk away and like be okay with like leaving this behind? Question number 4 is, has this feeling been building for months, regardless of how the business is performing? So what was happening to me, and I've shared this before, is like, the business was doing great. It was doing fine. We were operating like super high revenue, high profitability. We were getting clients, but it didn't matter. It didn't matter. I was not like excited. I was feeling frustrated all the time. I didn't see a way out. It's not depression, but like I just like didn't see a way out. And I didn't know, like, there was nothing I could do to make it better. So has this feeling been building for months, or is it just like something that you could, rest, or taking a step back could help? And the 5th question is kind of a 2-parter. If I fixed one obvious problem, like hiring, rescheduling, boundaries, getting rid of an offer, would I feel relief? Or would I just find something else to blame? So as in, like, if you're feeling burnout right now, there's probably one thing that you need to do in order to release that, right? Like my clients that are scaling from 20 to 25K a month to 50, 60K a month, they are feeling burnt out and overwhelmed. And a lot of times where they need help is to kind of get out of execution mode and more into strategy mode. So where their problem could be solved by hiring systems and automations, right? Like that is like where that problem could be solved. However, if you are generating revenue and your like business is operating, you're just like feeling overwhelmed all the time, and even a new team member or anything like that, implementing that in the business is not going to make a big difference, then that's a signal to know that maybe it's time to make a pivot. It's hard too because most women are not usually one or the other, right? Like it can be a little bit gray. You can be burnt out and sitting on like a pivot that you really want to do. And this test isn't necessarily finding like your clear answer, but to decipher your best next step and like what the next action could be. So if you've been listening to this and you're like, okay, this is getting my wheels turning, I still don't feel like I know exactly what's happening, or it's a very clear burnout, or it's a very clear like business pivot evolution. If it's burnout, what is the actual like move that you need to make? And it's not just like, okay, I'm going to take this weekend off. Like, yes, take this weekend off and talk about like, what's the job description? What are the systems that need to be in place? What's the new hire that you want to make? Is there a specific lever that you could push or pull that can generate more revenue, or that you could take a step back? Is it increasing your pricing? Like, decide right now. Like if you've been listening to this episode and you're like, okay, this is clearly burnout, this is my next step. Like, you know the step that you need to take. So if it's burnout, like find exactly what that one thing to change is and take that first action to making that happen. If it's a signal, don't act today. Like, I don't want you to be like, Olivia, I am done. I am closing shop. I'm not doing blah, blah, blah. Like I don't want you to do that with that episode, with this, like what we talked about today. This is, that would be terrifying for me. I don't want to be a part of that, but naming it and becoming aware of it is the very first step. And that is what happened to me. About this time last year, I was like, okay, I know what I need to do. Aware. I'm just aware. I know. I'm not going to make any rash decisions. I'm not going to be impulsive, which actually is very much in my nature, but I decided to go against it and just really sit on it and think and strategize then on how I was going to make that work. The next right move, if you do think it's time for a pivot, and when I say pivot, like maybe it's a new business, maybe it's a new offer. It doesn't even need to be like, or maybe it's just a name change. Like it doesn't even need to be anything like too crazy. It could, but it doesn't need to be. It's just one is naming it. And then the best next step is just having a conversation with yourself, whether it's journaling, like, why do I want this to happen? Or why do I think that this is going to like help me get to XYZ? For me, my North Star has never been a business model. My North Star has always been a vision for my life. And that vision has always been freedom, traveling, spending more time with my family than not, and impacting hundreds of people's lives. Like helping others live their life to their fullest. Like that has always been my North Star. It's also like being super healthy, being really fit, experiencing new things, being a good friend, wife, mom, like all of those things. And I make sure that my business fits is going to help me reach that, like that vision and that North Star. So if that helps you as well, like that could be another way to look at it. Not like, oh, this is the business that I want to have, but this is the life that I want to have. And my business is the vehicle to making that happen. Because at the end of the day, we all need money. It's life. And we all need to work, but your work, you should be passionate about your work and loving what you're doing. And as entrepreneurs, we have that opportunity to make that happen. So I would say the biggest thing, if you're listening to this and it's a signal, is getting clear on that vision and like that North Star for your life, and then taking it from there and like what that next step is. But don't be like crazy and rash. Obviously, you can send me a DM on Instagram. I'm happy to talk with it through you, but just use this more as like a season of like pulling and like experimenting and seeing what comes up. And then I'm sure during that, the next step will come out to you. And then if you're like, okay, I think it's both, like I'm burnt out by the business that I have, but I don't have space to even think about what something else would look like, fix the systems first, fix the business model to give yourself white space. So one thing that I do help a lot of my clients with is implementing another revenue stream that's a lot more passive. But I'll get clients that are coming to me. They're making like maybe 10 to 15K a month, but they're like hustling just to get there. And then they're like, I think I want to do a template shop, or I think I want to sell a course. No, we are scaling your first business to 30K a month, and then we're going to implement like another revenue stream. So all that to say is you want to get the existing business running like a well-oiled machine, removing yourself from the day-to-day, from the execution, to give yourself that white space to dream, explore, expand, think about other things, think about new revenue streams, a new business, another arm of the business, another department of the business, like whatever that looks like. So if it's both, if you're like help, SOS, start with the systems, start with like removing yourself from the day-to-day, and then start to implement that white space. Okay, so I hope you found this episode helpful. If you are, more on the burnout side, then I hope that you like just take a breather. It's summertime, just chill, relax, do all the things that you love doing, and then come back and really get clear on like that one thing that you need to do in order to reduce that overwhelm. And if you think that it is a signal to change or pivot or whatever that looks like for you, then just becoming aware of that and taking that next right step. And yeah, I hope my perspective and just helping decipher between these two of these things helps you. You don't need to blow everything up. We don't need to make any like crazy rash life decisions here, but just becoming aware and knowing what you're dealing with and having a clear action step forward, and just one to two things that you can start working on is going to make the biggest difference. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please like, subscribe, leave a review. We also are on YouTube now. Anything that you do is so, so helpful. I appreciate you guys so much, and I hope you have a good rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next episode.